them as happy as possible. Obviously, price is always a number one concern. Another thing I like to do when I send offers out is I like to put a couple of blurbs when I email the offer over. I put a couple of blurbs about my client. You know what? This is a young couple with two young children that are looking for a home to raise their family. And I try to I'll put, if I work with a lot of vets, I'll put that someone's a veteran, a disabled veteran, things like that. I try to add a little personal touch to each one. I can't tell you that it helps all the time, but I do think it helps sometimes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Hey.
Andrew, are you curious about how we're looking at homes in our current right now?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Looking for me?
Yeah.
So I haven't shown you homes this week, but I've been showing homes the past couple of weeks. You know what? It's kind of case by case. The houses that are empty aren't much different. Not really much going on in the empty houses. The people aren't as worried, but in the houses that are occupied, they're making sure they're not home. For the most part, they're asking people to take their shoes off. And they're generally keeping hand sanitizer somewhere very visible and asking you to use it on your way in and out. I went to one house that was, to me, was best position showing. They left everything open, like I'm talking every cabinet and every door, so you didn't have to touch anything. I thought that was really smart. It makes the people feel more comfortable too. And because I try to tell my clients already, don't touch anything in this day and age. We're not supposed to touch stuff. So that made it really easy. So that's some of the things people are doing.
And I would assume that open houses are not happening, or
just virtually. We're doing virtual open houses. Lisa and I actually did one just to test it out. But yeah, they're not on it. No, there were still. Lisa, I think I saw open houses near my neighborhood, not this last weekend, but the one before.
Yeah, they were still having them. It's only been in the last couple of weeks that they've really stopped. And I don't know if I think that just realtors aren't comfortable having them anymore, that they feel like they people would react badly to it, which is certainly, has a lot to do with how we're doing our businesses, how people are going to react to it. So yeah, I think they're pretty much all virtual.
Have any people then pulled their houses off the market during this time, or they've all?
I think I know of one in particular, because we had an offer on a house a condo we have listed that canceled because the deal on their place canceled. And when I went back in to check, their house had been pulled off the market conditionally. So I think that is happening. People are taking them off the market if they're not comfortable with people having go through them. Vacant houses, like Andy said, it doesn't really matter. And the things that I know Andy's gone into contract on some occupied houses. I think so. It really just depends, I think, on how comfortable people are with having people they don't know come through their house.
The current situation's given some people more opportunities, because our market's always very competitive at like 300 and a little bit below there. 250, 300 is kind of the sweet spot. And the investors have backed off because they're worried about their own portfolios. So in a sense, some people are getting an opportunity that they won't get again. I did get outbid last week. The house was listed at 290. We went at 292 and got outbid, so it went over list. But as a general rule, I would say people in that price range have a better opportunity right now.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. And so, how do you handle sellers' disclosures and that type of thing?
Down here?
Yes.
We're required, and I'm assuming you're making that comment because you're out of state and you don't know what the local disclosures are. Right. We down here, we are obligated to disclose anything we know to all parties. So let's say a seller said to us, there was a leak here and I just painted it over. As soon as we know something, we're under an obligation to let all parties know. So we would tell, your agent, Of course, you're going to use us, so we're not going to worry about that. But your agent, that we know that was an issue, and we'd have told our seller too. We may and if our seller said no, I don't want to, we probably wouldn't we would reject the listing. We wouldn't take it, or we would cancel with them. But we have within 5 or 10 days, Andy, of going into contract, we're obligated to give to the buyer a seller's real property disclosure form on which the seller has to disclose everything that they know is wrong with the property. Obviously, if they don't know it, they can't disclose it, but they are required to do that. And in the case of, let's say that a buyer has done a home inspection and come up with some information that the seller didn't disclose previously, maybe because they didn't know, and that falls apart, the deal is canceled, then the seller is under an obligation to disclose everything that was found in the home inspection that had been done. So those are our primary, those are the disclosures we have to make. If you're going into a common interest community and a homeowners association, like you would be if you bought into Sun City McDonald Ranch, within oh God, I never remember the days, 10 days, you have to provide the what's called an HOA resale package, which has all the information about the community to the buyer, and the buyer then have 5 days in which you can cancel if you don't like anything that you find in there. I always tell my buyers it's a get out of jail free card, because typically they don't give it to you right away, so you have a little bit of time. Right. So I never bother anybody about it, because I kind of like having that ability to extend the due diligence a little bit longer than maybe it would be just based on home inspection.
Okay, so what is the what's the average price in that neighborhood, and what are the HOA fees in that area in Henderson that you were suggesting?
Andy, can you check on the HOA fees, and I'll address the median. The median price in there is probably going to be right about 300,000, maybe a little bit higher. The price houses in there they were built in the late 90s, 97-ish. And depending on where you're located in the community, you could, and the size of the house, I don't know how big a house you want, but the smaller ones are typically selling it right at about 300, just a little bit under for let's say a 11 to 1200 square foot house. But you can get, bigger houses up above. Some of them, not very many have pools. Some of them do. And then you're going to be in the $400,000 to $500,000 range up there. But to be in walking distance, like of the community center and everything, those houses are going to be right around 300.
Okay.
Good pricing compared to Washington.
Absolutely. No, I think about 12 to 1500 square feet would be perfect.
Good.
Yeah,
Michelle, here's Mandy.
So the one like right now on the market, there's in that neighborhood that Lisa was talking about, Sun City McDonald Ranch, there's a 1482 square feet for 325. Then the next one is 1755 square feet, which is a little, and
so the inventory isn't very good in there right now. It doesn't sound like
there's not a lot of inventory. No.
Not a lot for sale, and that's what we're experiencing here, which is one of the reasons why we're not having too much trouble, is because there's not a lot of houses on the market. What's the HOA in there? It's paid quarterly, I think.
This one. It would help if the agents filled these out properly.
Details, huh?
It's about 60 a month from what I could see.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that gives you access to all of the community facilities. So it's a really big deal.
That doesn't cover, does that cover like water and that, or you pay all on your own?
All it covers is HOA enforcement and the community center, which is really nice.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Michelle, did you have a question?
Do. There's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I just was hoping you could clarify something for me. My husband's coworker is going through a little panic right now because he can't pay his mortgage. And I was curious, is it the Fannies and the Freddies that are deferred? What does it mean deferred? Does that mean you don't have to pay it at all? Can you clarify that, please?
Go ahead, Andy.
So I think you're talking about like mortgage forbearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Fannie and Freddie, which own most of the mortgages, you could find out if your mortgage is owned by Googling my mortgage on Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and then you put in your address after you find the site, and then you can find out if they own it, and if they do, you could definitely get into a forbearance program, but the payments don't go away, and that's really just kicking it down the road. It's not necessarily the best plan because those are payments that are going to have to be made up again. So they might work with you where you could spread it out over time, or they might even say this last 6 months, might even add 6 more months to your mortgage, which isn't horrible because it's not a devastating blow that they're asking for all the money at once, which is also possible. So if you're looking at that as an option, you need to talk to your lender. That's the first thing. Some lenders are offering a loan remodification as well. That's a much better alternative because then you can actually lower your payment depending on what interest rate you're in. You might be able to get something lower. So they're really working with people from what I understand right now.
Thank you. That's good information, but it has to be Fannie or Freddie to fall into that category.
Not necessarily. Most of the mortgages are doing it, but the ones that are Fannie and Freddie have to do it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the reason, and it's a really good reason, because this is probably a short-term layoff for people. You know, let's say 3 to 6 months, especially here in Las Vegas, where it's going to take a while for tourism to ramp back up once we get to open. And so if you can defer, which is really what's happening, you're deferring your loan payments until a later time, probably putting them on the back end of the loan, without affecting your credit and without any worry about the bank starting foreclosure proceedings. So it really is a very helpful thing. But if you're working and you can make your mortgage payment, you should be making your mortgage payment, because it's never good to get behind. So while it's a really nice tool, especially for the many people who were laid off here in our area, I'm still making my mortgage payment. Andy's still making his. So
I have a stupid question to follow that up. Andy, would it be okay if I give him your phone number if he has further questions? Okay, thank you.
That's not a stupid question.
I know Andy always loves to help. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know that I have more questions.
Well, you had good ones. Thanks, Kendra.
Yes. Thank you, Kendra.
Thanks for helping us with that. So just if you guys want to give us a little critique about how we did.
Oh, I thought you did excellent. It was very informative, and you're articulate, and Andy's looking things up to make sure we got all the facts.
You know, we deliberately planned that. We did a practice one yesterday, and I said, you know, if somebody asks us a question, we need information, one of us can go look it up while the other one, you know, continues to talk. So we had that planned.
I think we got all the bases covered, and like you've really thought it through, and yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, one of the things our coaching company has said is be sure to stay right on top of everything. So like I was just listening to a webinar by an economist for the National Association of Realtors, which was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And so we're really, you know, making a point of staying on top of everything, so that we can answer questions.
Good.
And,
you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you. Have to keep working.
Oh, and I just finished your video, so that's coming to you shortly.
Thank you. Did you watch the video?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, because I was basically quoting the video when I was answering your question.
Yeah. I did, and that's what made me think of more questions, because I thought maybe it's just Fannie and Freddie.
No.
They did this video. It's super good information, Kendra. So I'm sure they'll be sending it to you.
Well, I have a question too. When you talk about better to refi than not pay the mortgage, or not mod, you said modification, but did you actually mean a refi? Yeah.
Either, but some companies will do a modification too. And because a refi, you have to have equity in the property, right? But a modification, you might not.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But most properties have
Yes.
Here's a cute little quote for you, Kendra, that I heard yesterday when I was listening to something, is that the stock market dropped 30%. The value of your home did not drop 30%. So guess what's the better investment?
There you go. And here I am in an apartment.
I know. I'm just saying. But if you change your mind.
I'm not gonna, well, at least I can afford it down there.
You could. Well, you wouldn't even
it.
have to have a single family. You could do a condo.
Right. Yeah.
You're used to apartment living now.
There's townhomes in that Sun City area also.
They want to be on our webinar? Oh, there's your check, Andy. It's our broker, Scott.
See you soon, Scott.
Check delivery.
See? Still doing business.
Yeah, good. Okay.
All right.
Well, good to meet you, Andy and Michelle.
Nice to
Great
meet
see
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
helping us. That's so great.
Appreciate it, Kendra.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with this. I'll be curious how it all works out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Hey, Andy, stay on. Okay, I wanted to tell you something. Bye.
Bye.
Kendra can't figure out how to get out. There she goes. It's probably the first Zoom meeting she's done. I did get the locks changed on Winter Haven yesterday, and the attorneys complain about Erica. She is so nice to me.
He was always good to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with him.
Yeah, no, she's real, and I've heard them complain about her before, but maybe they should look in the mirror.
It must have been to you. Who complained about her, Lee?
I don't remember if it was Les or Lee, but one of them when I was talking on the phone. In fact, it was Lee. When I was talking on the phone, he said she's been a problem client. Anyway, so I got it cost $120 to wow, it's random to do it because but anyway, so it's done. The lock boxes, the other lock boxes are still on there, but because he just rekeyed it. He broke in and then he just rekeyed it. But I put the new key. I've got one here, and then there's one in the lockbox up there. So Eric is going to start up with the electrician and the plumber right away to get them going. So she's being really, she has to do a lot of shit, and she's being really good about it.
Especially considering she's not making any money, really.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. Although I guess there must be money in the state, because Les was talking about just paying off the first mortgagee, so which is Wells Fargo, just to get away from them. But anyway, so hopefully that'll all happen in the next week or so, and then they can finish their due diligence, and they can't close until mid-May anyway. Here's something interesting. Now, when the offer came through, Ditzy agent, not me, the other one. The offer said that the seller was going to pay the buyer's title insurance and the buyer was going to pay the seller's title insurance. And I didn't respond because I'm like, yeah, it saves them money. Well, but the freaking lender is like sticking her nose in contract stuff. And she just sent an email saying, this isn't normal. Do you want to do an addendum? I don't know what you think, but I think I'm tempted to email her and say, you need to stop getting involved in the contract.
But I would be softer than that because you have to deal with her.
Yeah.
Right? The general points you're making, you know what? Terms are already agreed to.
Huh?
The terms are already agreed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not illegal.
Right. No, I'm gonna. I think I'll send that to both the agent, copy both of them, send it to both of them, and just say that. That's really good language. So.
Yeah, they already agreed to the terms. You already showed your person the bottom line.
Right.
So you can't be changing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just she made a mistake. That's life.
Well, she did, but what is the lender doing getting involved in this?
She's trying to look like a hero to save her client money.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. Yeah, she should have seen it.
Yeah.
Already agreed to.
She's well, the agent's not very good, but I'm not going to care about that part.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So.
Yeah.
All righty. So I guess we'll just come on. I'll have us come on like 5 minutes early tomorrow.
Okay. You have to send me a link each day, or can I just use the same one?
No, you can use the same one.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll just use that same one.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to send them anymore.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, good. Yeah, I won't.
I have it saved, so.
Okay, good. Yeah. So that should be. So this works really easy. That was nice of Kendra to call. It was funny. She was just not thinking in terms of virus, but in terms of, just how do you.
She's not really looking to move, is she?
No. Oh no.
I didn't. No, that was very nice of her to help us out.
Yeah. No, she's great. That's that whole running group. Friends that I have, and there'll be probably one or two more. I'll show up over the next couple of days.
Let's hope we get some real clients too.
Well, let's talk to Michelle. I think we should ask Charlotte how we think we should. I should stop the recording on this. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I stop it? Okay.